Well, this is nice. I get to sit on a sofa, which is more comfortable. Sorry, boss, we don't seem to have had a pot of coffee or a pot of tea.
No wine. It's not like Graham Norton, is it?
Richard?
It is.
Richard, please tell me and tell us your job here, please. Your job title and your role.
I have two jobs here, and one of them is the show director for the PPMA. So because I run a company called Jensen International who are exhibiting, I'm a member of the PPMA, and being a member of the PPMA, I'm eligible to be a director, which I am, and I'm the show director of the show.
And what roles, because we might not know, what roles does the show director have, please? Responsibilities.
The show director, well, actually, the team at the PPMA are very good, and the team at Automate UK, the rebrand this year, I've got to get the hang of that. The team at Automate UK are very, very good. All of this work that they do around the show is theirs. What I do is that I will go into meetings with them and talk about the methodology, and just to make sure that what's going on with the show is reported to the board, and make sure the board is happy with it, and the board will then authorise funding for the various things that need to be going on at the show.
Obviously, I have to admit, this is the first time I've ever been to this show.
Hopefully not the last.
I've met some incredibly clever and passionate people. Mm-hmm. What's the good outcome for this? What is it that we're after putting on this show?
Well, for me, of course, this is my 35th show, which may show a dramatic lack of ambition in my career, but every one has been a pleasure, because this is where packaging is almost the biggest industry you've never heard of. So when you go to the shop, everything you see in the shop is packaged. It's had to be packaged so that it's safe, so that it doesn't go out of date, so that you get it in the condition that the people who made it want you to get it in. And people just don't realise what goes into that. And because of that, if the first jar of jam cost 2 million quid. And the second jar of jam costs £3.50, right? So there's a lot of thought goes into it, and everyone is always trying to do something differently to the people who were doing it before. So anyone who's been brought up on Blue Peter and Meccano, whatever else, really loves coming to somewhere like this, because this is where the next year's products people are designing how to package them. People come here from all the supermarkets and the food producers. How do I make it look different? How do I do this? How do I make it sustainable? So there's never-ending problems, never-ending things to think about.
You said, and you are quite right, that us as the consumer give very little thought to how our food is packaged. This is a business-to-business show. Do you think in many ways it might be a shame that the public can't come in some days and have a look at this?
Well, if the public really wanted to come in, of course, they could probably fill the forms in and come in. They don't know it's on, but you see, it is a shame to a certain extent that people don't know what we're doing. If I can refer back to your in the factory type things, those are very popular shows, and the same is, I think, How It's Made, which is an American one or something. People really like knowing where things come from and where things are made. And I think actually people would be able, if they tune into PPMA TV on YouTube, of course, they can see it and they can see the machines. It's not exactly a grand day out, I must admit. As a kid, I loved coming to these things, but don't think my family now would really fall over for it.
I think when I walked in, didn't know what to expect at all. Mm. I've met some really brilliant people. I've been absolutely fascinated. Let me ask you this, because you've been at this a long time. Mm-hmm. Okay? Have the issues facing businesses around packaging and automation, have they always been the same in different guises, or are there new issues arising?
There's always... Currently, sustainability, use of packaging materials, and all of that stuff is a large driver, as is the lack of availability of labour, and those are things that were not the case 15 years ago or 30 years ago. But back in the 1960s, for example, they invented sliced bread. Now, sliced bread, the best thing ever, but you can't wrap it in greaseproof paper, so you have to think of a way to do it. So they invented bread bags. Wicketed bags and machines for making bread bags, because everyone wanted sliced bread, but they couldn't buy it in the way they used to buy it. So all the time people invent new products, the pot noodle and all sorts of stuff. Everyone is a pot. You can't make a pot noodle unless you've got a pot sealer.
Or a pot.
Or a pot, yes. And someone's got to injection mold the pot. It's never ending. And so the situation now is more about materials, sustainability, use of materials, and efficiency in that respect. And there's lots of automation. Again, if you look, the Automate UK, we have a show involved in the automation show, which is held in June. It's all about robotics and automation and control.
Where is that going to be, please?
That's going to be in Coventry. So again, there's information in the brochure and on the website and all the rest of it, but being able to run factory lines 24 hours a day with robotics, and there are lots of things that robots and cameras and the UK Industrial Vision Association, which is part of Automate UK, there are loads of things that cameras can do and robots can do at high speed that people just can't and don't want to. Because it's very cold in food factories, and if you just keep putting pads into a tray, it's not very exciting.
Yeah, as I found out over the years,
Yes.
food factories invariably start off very cold and then very hot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, do get a lot of cakes out of it.
I was amazed at how much cutting-edge technology there is here. Is it a case in this business you either embrace new technology or you're left behind? I mean, how cutting-edge is it? How fast does it move forward?
Well, a lot of it's down to control and things like that. The consistency, control, making sure things that waste is very expensive. So if you inspect things to make sure they don't have metal in them and the seals work on a pack and the label is printed correctly, then that means that things aren't rejected and aren't thrown away. So there's the ability to do that involves control. Control tends to be based on electronics. So there's a lot of electronics, PLCs, computer, lots of software, loads of software. AI is coming in. So AI, for example, for looking at seals and seal inspection, things that you can show an AI system. This is a bunch of good stuff, and this is a bunch of bad stuff, and the AI system will spot the difference, and then that will be able to control things going forwards. So there are applications for that coming in. But on the other hand, if you look at a packet of crisps from today and a packet of crisps from 30 years ago, do you know what? You could make them on the same machine.
Is that right? Is that right? Something else that I've learnt today is that actually you guys are at the front of the reduction of food waste. Nothing is going to have a bigger impact on the environment than reducing food waste. Do you call them members here? Do you call them friends? Or do you call them both of those things? What should I call them?
Some of them friends. All of them members, that's right, yeah.
But you guys are actually at the front of the march here, trying to reduce food waste.
Absolutely, and it's very topical. There are various things like people banning bananas, or there's a classic one about the cucumber. Should cucumbers be packaged or not? Okay, so if you shrink wrap a cucumber, which is by far the best way to deal with a cucumber if you're going to eat a little bit every day, because what's left will be preserved. But if you're running a catering environment, a catering where you get through loads of cucumbers every day, there's no point packaging them. So it's a case of looking the right solution for the right job.
Yeah, okay.
People. But it's ultimately down to money as well. I mean, as I've always said to our guys, I've never sold a machine anyone actually wanted. Right?
Explain that to me, please.
Well, people want a Ferrari, and they'll go and buy a Ferrari for no particular good reason other than the fact they really like it. People don't buy banding machines to take them home at weekends. What they do is they buy them because their life is easier, or they've got one less headache. So what our job is to take away headaches from production processes, to save a bit of money here, to allow a bit more money to be made there, and generally to make people's lives a bit easier. And all of this stuff in the hall is really about making people's lives a bit easier in factories, making the factories more efficient. There'll be less screaming, less yelling, and more food and less waste.
From what I understand, this show seems to be expanding.
It kind of is. The size of the show this year, in my opinion, is pretty much perfect. You can go around the show twice. You can come for the day. You can have a cracking day out. You can go around the show twice. You can see lots and lots of things. You've got time to talk to lots of people. And then you can go home with an armful of brochures, an armful of business cards. Your app can be full of contacts, and it's been a great day. We don't plan to. It is our effectively our club show for the Automate UK. So we're not planning to expand it outside this hall.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's a big hall, and it's the biggest hall at the NEC, but this is the right size.
It is great, by the way. It's not my industry, it's your industry. I'm learning as I go. Is there anything that I haven't asked you? Is there anything that you should tell me or should explain to me, or do you think we may have covered it?
Oh, heavens. Well, I mean, I think the point you made early on about informing the outside world about what we do. If everyone in the world knew what we did, our lives here would be a lot easier. It's people who come here and see the show for the first time are amazed at how diverse it is and how interesting it is. One of the things that we ought to talk about are the young people getting into engineering, because those are the guys who can come around here and be inspired for a career in engineering. Because, you know, the fact I've been here for 35 of the shows is really good, and I've really enjoyed it. But if they're at 14 or 15 and they're deciding what they want to do, it's important that they realise that engineering in this sort of world can be a fantastic way to spend a career. There's an awful lot of people in this room have been in this room one way or the other, an awful lot for the last 30 years or so. And we do make the money we make on this show, some of that money goes into the PPMA Best charity, or the Automate UK Best charity, Business Education, Skills and Training. And what we do with that is we inform kids at school through our STEM days and things like that engineering is a viable option. It's a really interesting option. The world needs hairdressers and car mechanics.
Excuse me?
And even accountants. Not everyone, yeah. Polishing, French polishing, whatever. And it even needs accountants, but it also needs engineers. So in engineer, you can have a lovely life being an engineer, and this is a great person to do it. But then after that, if people do choose engineering, we sponsor apprentices. So we give money to apprentices to buy tools, and for member companies, apprentices, or for people who are looking at graduate schemes to go back to university or to move on to different. So anyone progressing an engineering career, the PPMA Best charity, the Automate Best charity, will support and give grants.
Where can we get more information about this charity? Because there's another thing I was unaware of. Thank you.
Oh, well, the charity here, there's a booth. The Automate UK Best booth is on the other side of the hall from here. It's on, I don't know the booth number, but you can find it.
Anything online?
Absolutely. If you go on the PPMA website, or the Automate UK website, I keep making that mistake, sorry, but the Automate UK website, go through to click on Best, and all the information is there.
Actually, as I've gone round to thinking about a career in engineering, as I've gone round talking to people, and I've looked at the retailers that your members are involved in, I've looked at the enormous brands, household names that your members. This is touching everybody's lives in the UK, in this hall here.
Absolutely. There's nobody living anywhere in the UK that doesn't have something in their house or cupboard that hasn't been through one of the machines here.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
It just can't happen. Yeah.
It's extraordinary. Now, look, before we go, I've been judging the quality of each stand.
Right.
Not by the machinery,
Yeah.
by the quality of the snacks and the nibbles on offer.
Yes.
And can I say, sir, some of them are showing innovation and some real quality. Some of them are sadly lacking in this department. Is there anything you can do to up the quality of the nibbles available?
Well, I would say you need to nip down to there's an ice cream van here. Leave your stand, come down to the PPMA stand. There's an ice cream van. It's a real ice cream van. It's only real ice cream. It doesn't get any better than that.
Possibly a beer.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, cheers.
That was great. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Cheers. Thanks.
Heard it here first. Ice cream van.